Hey all, this is from SoftServe back to show a quick video. I wanted to show off a mod for Dark Souls 2 that is pretty crazy. It's already my favorite Dark Souls 2 mod. It might be my favorite Souls mod ever, realistically, like in terms of what it does and how it transforms the game. And so if you can't already tell, this looks better than your default Dark Souls 2 experience. The lighting is just genuinely insane. So I'll put a link in the description to this lighting mod. It's basically called, I think it's Dark Souls 2 Lighting Engine mod. And what he did, and it's like this solo guy, as far as I can tell, he stripped out the entire lighting engine from Dark Souls 2 and replaced it with one that, also ignore Heide over there, that's a different mod, but Heide's chilling out over there. And so yeah, he replaced the entire lighting engine, and this one supports volumetric fog, ambient occlusion, which of course the game already had ambient occlusion, but this version is better. He just recently added SMAA, and it's really quite good. And you know, you can actually change like the position of the sun, and there's an entire settings menu, as you can see here. Like, it actually has, so basically, obviously everything changes in the different zones that you go, so I'll show you guys a lot of different zones. But you have directional light settings, like the actual temperature. You can actually change sort of what it looks like, which is just absolutely bananas. And you can change the luminous, you can disable the sky atmosphere, and it's just crazy how much it can alter how this game looks just by the lighting. And he didn't stop there either. He's not done, he's still updating. I think it's on version 0.8.5, but he's been updating ridiculously quickly, and almost daily. But actually, as you can see up here, kind of where my helmet is, as you get closer, the shadows update. And so there is kind of a level of detail system. But let me show you some different areas. I had to start in Majula, obviously, but this mod also changes the way that materials are handled, like metal, and stone and different things like that, to where it actually has sort of very realistic properties. You know, it's not physically based, because obviously the textures were not authored in that way, but this mod just genuinely upgrades Dark Souls 2 at least an entire console generation, if not more. Like, it's just genuinely crazy how lighting alone can just really transform it. So let's go to Heide, or Hyde, I never know how to say that. Let's go to her Tower of Flame. Get rid of the settings menu here. And so yeah, like the first thing you'll notice is definitely the volumetric fog. It's actually sort of off-putting for some people. I've seen in some of the comments for the mod where they go, oh, it's really weird, and I feel like it gets rid of detail, and I, you know, agree to disagree on that. I think volumetric fog actually makes the game look just a lot more cohesive. But yeah, let's get rid of this guy. We're fully upgraded. Oh no, oh no. I don't like these guys, but thankfully this is I think my character is like level I also have a mod, I think it's called Player Enhancements, where I can basically drink my Estus Flask while walking, which is sick. Dark Souls 3 style. Okay, guys. You know, I'm trying to make a video here. I could edit this out, but I definitely won't. That's... Okay, they disappear quick. But yeah, it even affects like shadowing in the distance there. You can see the sky rendering is just fantastic. And I'm sure people are wondering at home, does this affect performance a ton? Like, does this just absolutely crater performance? It does not. I'm currently running a 2060, the 12 gigabyte version, but either one would be fine. And I didn't notice any performance downgrade, really. Of course there is, it's just that Dark Souls 2 by default isn't really resource intensive, so I was really just targeting 60 FPS, so I haven't noticed anything, but even on my 1660 Super, I didn't notice anything. The modder actually just released a version of this that works on much older video cards. I think the GTX 400 series, which I think is Kepler, or I don't remember the code name for that architecture, but yeah, it now works on that. And, you know, don't expect like super high FPS, but it does actually function. Because I believe Scholar of the First Sin, the PC version, works on DirectX 11 actually, whereas I think the original version, kind of like the Prepare to Die version of DS1, was DX9. But like the lighting in this room in particular is absolutely changed. Okay, guys, don't, you know, I'm trying to make a really cinematic video. You know, don't be like that. But yeah, like the way that the light actually is bouncing off the fire and affecting the fog that is actually in the room is just fantastic. So let's go to somewhere dark. Yeah, let's go to No Man's Wharf, which is not my favorite, but which actually reminds me that, so for those who don't know, the original trailer, like gameplay trailer for Dark Souls 2, showcased just, like, at the time, was like just an awesome lighting system. Like, things were very dark, and sort of using a torch was just going to be an integral system, right? And, well, unfortunately, when the game launched, it looks like they had basically, at the last minute or soon before release, they ripped out a lot of that lighting engine. So the light torch system lives on in the game, but it actually wasn't really necessary for the game anymore. It answers the question of, like, why was the torch system integrated if, like, most of the time you just didn't need it. A lot of the areas looked completely flat, but as you'll see with this, it looks incredible. Like, this is a 2014 game, but I think it just looks, the lighting, like the way that the shadow from the torch you know, is actually coming off that. And so we're going to head into No Man's Wharf, which is just absolutely transformed with this mod. And then actually see the way that the stone or the rocks on the ground, how the light is reflecting off of it and like bouncing. And then the water reflections. The mod has been updated to handle bloom as well, and particles. So a lot of the bugs have already been worked out. There were issues with, like, the shaded woods, I think, had issues with the mobs that were sort of invisible, right? So that's been dealt with, and the modder's just been absolutely fantastic. Oh my gosh, okay, you know what? Alright, chill. Okay. But yeah, the way the lighting is handled, and all the materials, and how the shadows bounce off in the environment, basically it puts the game back to like a souped up version of what that original gameplay trailer showed off. And so it really, I don't know, it sort of makes Dark Souls 2 whole in a way, if that makes sense. Like, this is, I think, the vision of what they had, is that you actually needed to use a torch, and it looked incredible. Like, that gameplay trailer was just awesome, so good looking, and it was really just disappointing when it ended up being stripped out. And likely it was stripped out for performance reasons, as it obviously needed to work on the Xbox 360, right? And the PS3, and, you know, at that point you would had, okay, I just put out my torch, but now you can see how dark it is, and you can actually, like, the light from the torches, you actually need that, because it's very hard to see without it. But yeah, like at that point you had Demon Souls run okay on PS3, and then when they went multi-platform with Dark Souls, yeah, go to Blighttown on the Xbox 360 or PS3 for that matter, and just look how it absolutely chugs. And you can see why Dark Souls 2, they at the last minute they were like, all right, well, this is not running well, and so the lighting engine had to get absolutely gutted, which is just a real shame. Okay, I do believe I have the infinite homeward bone feather thing, because I can't see anything. But it does really add to the level of, like, you can get scared shitless in this game because of how dark it can be now, that it's an actual mechanic. And it's also made me just fall in love more with Dark Souls 2, despite already loving it, despite its many faults. And I want to make that clear. Many faults. It's so imperfect, but it has a charm about it, and I think this mod just absolutely is essential. It is. I think it's just now the mod that everyone needs to download when you're replaying this game. Like Iron Keep looks insane. I think it already looked pretty good in the base game, but now the atmosphere is just so strong. And I actually feel better about being in this area, despite it being one of the worst areas in the game in terms of, well, just getting through it. This area still absolutely fucks me up. But now that it's so beautiful, yeah, that helps a little bit. That helps. Like, the shadows are so strong. And this game is just... Like, I still don't... I don't think it looks as good as Dark Souls 3. And that makes sense, because, of course, they were, you know, a couple years apart. And the technology got so much better that they were using. Obviously, different engines as well, largely. But I think it gets damn close to looking so much beyond where it did look. Also, I never noticed that there was a sword sticking out of that chain, which the chain is definitely 2D, but that, for the time, that makes total sense. Do I have one of those bright bug thingy? Yes. Oh no, not armor, Dennis. Dennis, you can eat my ass, Dennis. You are one of the worst invaders. But I'm leveled up at this point, so I feel. Okay, no one. I'm gonna edit this out. No one. No one watch this. Well, actually, watch the video, like and subscribe. I'm gonna get absolutely roasted by this guy. Double drink, double drink, double drink, double drink. Okay. Alright, you know, some of us have mana bars. Just saying. Just saying. Some of us have. Okay, actually, torch. Nah, torch is out. It's two-handed. Okay, well. If I win this, everyone has to comment, like, and share. If I don't win this, please do it anyway. But do it with less enthusiasm. Is that a deal? Okay. Bro. I have a lot of heal. Okay, hopefully everyone understands my pain right now. This NPC invader is just one of the absolute worst. Yeah, so when I went through here, I actually faced off against Fencer Sharon. Or Sharon. Okay, alright, like, comment, subscribe for the algorithm. Give me, I'd like poggers in the comments. Oh, human effigy, totally not worth it. Yeah, Armorer Dennis absolutely rinsed me. He does in every playthrough. Or she? I don't know. Well, that's Dennis. Denise? Who knows? Anyway, back to the mod. It looks insane. Let's go to another area real quick. Just to show off some more cool stuff. Yeah, let's go to Earthen Peak. That's right. I remembered the name. I'm a Souls YouTuber. I know these things. Alright, let's light a torch. Illuminates the room just a little bit. And just even walking out of this cave, you can see how the torch is just absolutely necessary. And the volumetric fog is doing work. Oh, you know, you try to make a video, and one of the worst enemies in the game, by far. I didn't mean to spin, didn't mean to spin, didn't mean to spin. Okay, I promise I'm gonna really talk about the mod, and it's great. Probably gonna get one shot. Okay, this is but even, yeah, quickly looking at the, whatever they're called, fire mages? Desert priestesses? Or, I don't know. You can even see that the mod is doing work on the texture of the clothing and the body and like the specular highlights and then the shadows that are coming off that body as well. Like, this mod touches almost everything. Like, you can even see it on this little switch. The way that the material is handled, that it is a sort of stone looking switch, the light that is reflecting off of it, or bouncing off of it, I should say, it's just awesome. Like, this mod, I'm in love with. It's basically, this video is going to be however minutes of me just gushing about it. I also do have Dark Souls 2 videos on my channel if you want to see what it looks like normally. But as I was saying, the volumetric fog that they've added with this mod is doing work. Like, the way that you can see the fog, or the sort of gas, poison kind of shit down there, which you gotta love a poison swampy area. And the way that the green is basically just taking over the sky. And then the way that you can see the entire windmill. Well, I thought I burnt the windmill already, but maybe it's already burnt. But yeah, it's just absolutely just some next level shit that they're doing in this mod. Let's go back to the first bonfire. I'm just gonna run by, but once again, you can see the torch doing some serious work here, and the experience is just transformed. And then let's see if we can get a close-up of her. We're looking at her face, obviously. She's looking at a stone. Let's get a little circular look. But yeah, let's get a close-up of my armor as well. Like, the self-shadowing of the chains and the chainmail just looks awesome. And of course, like, yeah, I mean, it would, you know, need a full-on, like, texture mod, which there are texture mods for Dark Souls 2, but they're kind of weird to install. It requires this one program that isn't really supported that much anymore. But yeah, entering here, you can see that once again, the volumetric fog is mixing the colors from the bonfire and then filling up the room. And by default, it just looks super flat. It's actually like, it's impossible for me to go back. So let's look at one more area. Let's see. Not Shrine of Amana. We hate that place. Oh yeah, let's go to the Dragon Eyrie. Arguably one of the coolest looking places in any Souls game, I think. Like, I think a lot of the art design of Dark Souls 2 isn't great, but I will say Dragon Eyrie is just fantastic. But specifically with this mod, it just looks so good. And they actually are like zone based, so you can actually see that there's a list of basically all of them, and it should know where you're at. Occasionally I've had an issue where it didn't know I was in Majula, but it basically has the different atmospheres. Also, there's user settings up here, which max anisotropic filtering, SMAA, which you then disable, the in-game anti-aliasing. They have different edge detection. Basically, this mod is crazy, and it's actually not. That's the crazier part, is it's not using reshade to do this. I want to make that very clear. He's not using reshade. He's basically using that as a framework for like the way that the settings function and all that. But the actual work that he's done is on the lighting engine itself. You know, this isn't like all post-processing stuff, like your classic reshade preset, which, you know, there's a million of those, right? But those are limited by like usually screen space related stuff, or even depth. But they have a limit to. Oh my gosh! I'm gonna get absolutely spit roasted by this guy. But okay, we got a little flicker. I wonder what that is. All right, we got a little flicker. So yeah, the mod is definitely not finished yet, but he's made tremendous progress on it, and I'm hoping they're gonna attack me, aren't they? Don't hate me. Don't hate me because I'm beautiful, okay? I'm just gonna run. See if I can get the Guardian Dragon, and then I'll end the video on that. I gotta open this door. Shit. Don't hate me. Yeah, you can see the shadows from the dragons just popping all over the place. You know, they really shouldn't have put 2 doors for no reason here. These guys should attack me, right? I mean, I guess I've already talked to the Ancient Dragon, so maybe they're cool with me. I did not kill the Ancient Dragon. I've done it once, and I basically said I would never do it again, because it's just a really dumb boss fight. And I'm now realizing this video is just going to be me rambling about Dark Souls 2, and the mod a little bit. Wow, I never realized how veiny the Ancient Dragon is. I think those are veins, right? Like, it just, oh my god, it looks so veiny. Alright, well, I made it, and this mod is crazy, and it will be in the description, so you can download it on Nexus Mods. He updates it all the time. A little bit of flicker going on with that, not sure what that is. But I haven't really experienced the flicker in pretty much any other area. But this is, honestly, my most recommended mod for Dark Souls 2. Because it works with seemingly all the other mods. I've only used, for my daily, like normal playthroughs, I tend to just use, there's one that kind of affects stamina a little bit. And then there's one for ADP, but I haven't installed that yet. But I want to basically, it makes it to where you don't need to level ADP. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. I might try that out. Use the stats towards something else. Also, the Elite Knight set is the real MVP. I think it's gorgeous. But yeah, please download this mod. If you like it, endorse it. Make a post on the Nexus Mods. And make a Twitter post. Honestly, this modder is just... he's doing God's work, and should be recognized for that. But anyway, this has been from SoftServe, and I rambled on for however long this video ended up being. Sorry about that. I'm gonna post another one. I think the next video I'm working on is I'm once again playing Demon Souls through the RPCS3 emulator, and there's this big mod that adds in basically all of the cut content that was basically on the disc, but just obviously they had cut it before release. And so I think the first one I'm going to show off is, I think it's on the second world, or no, it's in the first world before Tower Knight, and you go underground under the bridge to kind of get there, and there's a turn off. And before, you could look out this giant hole in the wall, and you could see this town down there. And you were like, you couldn't get to it, but I always thought that was really cool. And this cut content actually adds a walkway down there. And there's some crazy things. I won't spoil it. I went through it today, but it was really cool, honestly. So yeah, look forward to that. Not sure when that'll be posted, but anyway, thanks for watching. Be nice to each other. Cheers. And don't go hollow. Don't go hollow. You don't want to look like beef jerky.